Welcome to the Pathways to Wholeness podcast. I'm Michael Warmoth, and I thank you for joining us for this next episode of meditative teaching. Please note that these meditations were recorded in a tropical environment with the windows and doors open, so you will hear birds and other sounds in the background. Try not to let them distract you from the words. Okay, let's just settle in, relax, maybe take a few breaths and just listen to the music before the teaching starts. Let us turn our attention to what is true and real in this moment. It is easy to let our minds create all kinds of ideas about what is real. And we will follow that track until we are despairing or lonely or in some way feeling hopeless and helpless. And we must be able to turn our attention back to what is real and true. We may have some circumstances or situations that are causing us pain. But there is a part of us, the real part of us, the most real, that is untouched by that pain. There is a part of us that knows there's a much bigger picture. That part of us that wants to remain in control, wants to be in charge, will deny that there is more. We'll use all kinds of strategies to keep us from surrendering, letting go. We must understand that is a choice and a decision that we are making in the moment. And that when we hear the truth, we know it's true. And we see that the claims of the ego can't possibly be true. But we made a decision long ago that in some way led us to trust only in being in control. That somehow we could not trust that there was a greater power within us. The decision was not based on whether there was a God or not. It was usually based on whether we could trust those who were caring for us at the time. And the decision was that we could only trust ourselves. That is, we could only trust in control. We were on our own to protect ourselves and provide our own safety and security. In the process, developing that self ruled out the possibility of any other self. And so, our true self was shut off. And in fact, we became afraid of our true self. But as we have heard, that self is alive and real within us. And there is a natural impulse for us to reunite with that self, a natural impulse to return to a trusting and knowing state about the reality. A reality that we know is there, but in some way, we deny it. We say no to it. This is a great conflict within us. The natural spontaneous self seeking expression. And the fearful self protecting, controlling, always seeking safety and security. So let us remind ourselves that the truth is right here, right now. That it is always true. And that the reason we don't experience it is because we have chosen to trust only in control. Have chosen to trust in the ego. We have believed and accepted the dualistic view of the ego. We believe in right and wrong and good and bad. And we fight to keep ourselves in line with whatever that means for us. Every one of us is trying to prove that we are good, no matter how twisted that may express. No one sets out to do evil or harm or be bad. Everyone thinks they're doing what they need to do to be good. And that is the issue with the ego. Because all of that story about what is good and bad and right and wrong is just a creation of the ego and conditioning. It has nothing to do with truth. And its ability to distract is powerful. We don't have to try to be good. There is nothing we can do to be better. The truth has no judgment whatsoever. There is no judgment day. There's no final reckoning. The truth is infinite and timeless. It is unconditionally accepting and allowing. It is unconditional love. It is spontaneous beauty creativity. There is nothing bad inside us. The truth is nothing to fear. But our conditioning is strong. We have been taught to fear and to listen to that fear, to live in fear. But there is that within us which knows there is nothing to fear. We must remind ourselves constantly what is really true right now. Is our conscious awareness aligned with the truth or with the ego? What are we conscious of? What is filling our mind? Is it causing us hopelessness and helplessness? What we are listening to? Or is it feelings of peace and joy, lightness and love? We can choose. The ego tells us it's hard, it can't be done, we don't know how. We are not good enough. We are not enough in some way. So we must remember, we are choosing that. We are choosing to empower and trust the ego. Out of our fear of the loss of control. We don't have to look far to see how control is so well established. The phrase "out of control" raises a pretty negative image in most cases. The idea of losing control does not sound positive. And yet, what is the truth of that? What does it mean to lose control, to be out of control? It means to be spontaneous. To be joyful. Be free, to be at peace with yourself. trusting only in control, we are not at peace with ourselves. We are in conflict. We are trying to make ourselves into something, into a somebody. This time that we forgave ourselves, not for having been bad or wrong, but for the purpose of knowing the truth of ourselves. To forgive really means to stop thinking the untrue thoughts about ourselves. Forgive means to see the truth, to let go of what wasn't ever true. And it was never true that we were bad or not enough or unworthy. Those are constructs of the ego and relate to a world that doesn't exist, has no reality. There is a perfection to everything. Truth remains absolute and universal, incorruptible, unchanging, an infinite source giving life in every moment. Let yourself be at peace in the conflict within. Give up all the effort to be somebody, to be better, to be good. Let go of it all. What you are looking for is already true and real. What you really want, what your deepest desire is to reconnect with your authentic self. To finally realize we are not alone. We're not separate. And we are not judged. That is reality. That is the truth. It is our choice whether we will accept that or not. And we have that choice right now. always have the choice. Thank you for listening to this episode of our podcast. If you'd like more information on these meditations and teachings, visit pathwaystosurrender.com. You might be interested in our other podcast, Pathways to Surrender. These are guided meditations designed to support you in letting go of whatever tensions or false ideas you might be holding about how things really are, and reaching a state of peace and surrender. That's Pathways to Surrender. Look for the next episode soon. We're uploading them every couple of days. See you next time.